And Chad Classen joining us now with a look ahead to sports. Disappointing weekend for the Broncos.
Yeah, not a good showing for the Broncos on Saturday, playing the powerhouse Okanagan Sun. We'll have highlights of that. Also, day 4 at Blazers training camp as they prepare for the big annual blue and white game tomorrow. And also one Canadian advancing at the U.S. Open. That's all coming up in sports. It's day 4 of Blazers training camp down at the ISC. The team's down to 42 players and 2 teams for tomorrow night's blue and white game. And while the attention is on the return of Don Hay back to Kamloops, it will ultimately be up to the veterans to lead the Blazers back to the playoffs. Matt Needham returns as captain, and his partner in crime, Cole Yulee, is looking to build on his first 30-goal season in the Western Hockey League. These faces of the franchise are a year older and ready to help put all the losing behind them. When Cole Yulee and Matt Needham first broke into the Western Hockey League, they had a supporting cast with the likes of Colin Smith, J.C. Lapon, and Brendan Ranford. But that all changed last year. Needham was given the captaincy at 18 with a very young team on his shoulders. 3 weeks after the TRU hockey program was cut from the list of varsity sports at the university, players are speaking out about how the athletic administration handled the situation. The program ceased operations July 29th, weeks before training camp, too short of notice for players to transfer to any other schools. Now they're frustrated they have nowhere to go. It's been 3 weeks since TRU announced there would be no hockey this season, and former players are still reeling with nowhere to play the game they love. Among the Blazers who will play a big role is veteran, stay-at-home defenseman Ryan Rehill, who comes into his 3rd season in Kamloops, and this year he's expected to anchor the Blazers' back end. It's been an exciting summer for the 18-year-old who was taken 131st overall by the New Jersey Devils in June's NHL draft. Ryan Rehill comes into his 3rd season with the Blazers after one of the best moments of his hockey career to this point, having his name called by the New Jersey Devils in the 5th round.
It was definitely a different kind of experience. It was a pretty stressful day for me and my family, just watching the draft. You know, rounds go by, you start kind of thinking, you know, maybe I won't go, maybe nobody's going to pick me here, but it was definitely really exciting and a big sigh of relief.
Day off in the NHL playoffs, but the Montreal Canadiens sure can breathe easier knowing they're back in the Eastern Conference Final after last night's big overtime win in New York. The road teams are now 4-1 in the conference finals, with the Western Conference Final shifting to Los Angeles for Game 3 tomorrow. Last night in New York, game tied at 1 late in the 3rd. Canadiens get the lead. Puck comes around the net. Briere shoves it past Lundqvist, 2-1 Montreal. Then with Lundqvist out of the net for the extra attacker, Rangers get a lucky break off Alexei Yemelin's skate to send it into overtime. But in OT, Canadiens get the last laugh.
Buchanan holds and shot one, jammed it, they score! An overtime winning goal for Alex Galchenyuk, and the Canadiens are back in the series.
It's a 35-pound piece of silver Canadiana. The Stanley Cup is a trophy all kids playing hockey dream about hoisting one day as they make their way through minor hockey. That dream came true for one of Kamloops' own in June when the LA Kings captured their 2nd Stanley Cup in the last 3 years. Davis Payne grew up playing minor hockey in Kamloops before going to Michigan Tech, and then playing 22 games in the NHL with the Boston Bruins. But he's had a great career behind the bench, and this week he brought the cup back to the city that brings back so many great memories.
Toffoli shoots, great save, rebound, they score! Alec Martinez gets the goal. The Los Angeles Kings have won the Stanley Cup.
When the LA Kings beat the New York Rangers in June, they hoisted the Stanley Cup for the 2nd time in 3 years. But it was a first for assistant coach and Kamloops native Davis Payne.
The Kings, will he have his own team?
I'm not good enough with words or smart enough to explain just how good it feels.
BC Lions training camp here in Kamloops is up in the air with the ongoing CFL labor dispute that's still unsettled. But regardless of the outcome, there will be football this summer at Hillside Stadium as the Kamloops Broncos look for their 2nd straight playoff berth. A big part of the Broncos' success last year in getting to their 1st ever postseason were brothers from Vanderhoof, who are again back to help the offense. Cam and Sheldon Brown are getting ready for another season together with the Kamloops Broncos. The brothers from Vanderhoof are relishing the opportunity to once again play on the same team. There are no guarantees in life, and the same applies to sports. But when Lions president Dennis Skalski boldly guaranteed a win Sunday against Saskatchewan, it fueled a fire in the Riders' locker room, who came in having won 4 in a row. But it's the reigning special teams player of the week, getting the Lions off to a great start. Tim Brown going 75 yards to the house. The Lions up 10-0. The guarantee is looking good. But the Riders have an unlikely hero. D lineman Dan Clark with an unreal catch, and Saskatchewan spoils the party in a 2016 win at BC Place.
To 16, the final score.
If you have a comment or story idea for sports, contact us at sports@cfjctv.com. I can be followed on Twitter @Klassen87, and you can get sports on demand at cfjctv.com. You're not kidding about that. You need a little grooming.
Need a lot of brushes.
Blow drying and brushing.
That's right. Deep conditioning.
Anyway, if you're interested in adopting them, again, you take them as a pair, call the SPCA. That's our time for now. We're back again at 11 o'clock, so please join us then.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.